Yeah.
All right. My name is Regina Polite, and I am one of the co-chairs of Food Access Group. And if everyone wants to go, we want to go around and introduce yourself. Please do so for our guests. And RJ, why don't we start with you?
Yep. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
My name is RJ. I am with Feeding Tampa Bay. I forget what we do in these introductions. My favorite color is green. I do enjoy walks in the park sometimes. Oh, cut it, cut it. Okay. And this is my coworker for the day. Unfortunately, he's my little co-pilot. So we're hanging out. He's the reason why I couldn't be there in person. We're actually only like 12 minutes away, but he was going to cause some ruckus there, and I don't want to have any problems.
Well, have you been to this library before?
Actually, after you guys scheduled it, we made a trip over there just to kind of check it out.
Yeah.
So I went there a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
It's all the like little babies and stuff here, and it seems like they have like a playroom. So
Yeah. Probably should have. I probably could have brought him and just left him there.
yeah, excited.
Okay, well, thank you. Okay, for introducing yourself and your baby. And next, you want to go ahead?
Sure. My name's Eileen Hernandez, and I don't work with a specific organization. I'm a nurse practitioner. I love agriculture. I just got my certification, so I'm excited to kind of see how I can benefit this group as far as healthcare goes.
I'm Monica Petrella. I'm the Homegrown Hillsborough coordinator, and I'm here to support the group.
I'm Michelle Odea. I'm the co-chair of the Food Access Working Group.
I'm Savannah. I'm a homegrown healthcare specialist, and I'm facilitating the meeting over here.
Okay, well, next on the agenda is item 2, and that is deliverable and old business. We're going to discuss new developments, assignment reading, or other outcomes, important news since last meeting. Does anyone have anything?
Anything you researched? I know Elliot posted on the platform like a little did you know thing? You want to talk about that a little bit? Or
Sure. Let me just pull it up real quick, but I really wanted to start doing like weekly posts for just things that maybe other individuals can consider when it comes to food access. And what I posted, if I can just pull it up real quick, I don't even remember food deserts. Okay, so in Los Angeles, according to this research article, during the COVID pandemic, they realized that it wasn't so much food deserts that was the issue itself. Like you would think that's a high priority, but the barriers were lack of transportation, which I thought was pretty interesting because Tampa and Hillsborough County is so huge, and I can see how that could be a problem as well in Tampa. So I thought that was kind of cool to post, and I'll be doing more of that.
Oh, okay. Does anyone else have anything to add to?
I'll kind of add and just say on that same post, I also shared that in Atlanta, it was they had a similar initiative called MARTA Marts, where at designated bus stops or MARTA stops throughout Atlanta, they'd have little pop-up markets where they would do like they accepted SNAP. And so it was people that were already in their normal daily transit. They were able to access fresh produce on the go. And I think that could be something that we could totally implement here by working with Heart. And if we identify a neighborhood that we think is kind of a high priority, I'm sure we could reach out to Heart and have a meeting with them and say, hey, can we do like a pop-up, at 1 or 2 bus stops and see kind of what it's like, and see if people are using it. Basically, do they need how are they going to carry their produce home with them? Do they have backpacks? Do they need bags? Where would we get the produce from? Would it be from like a local community garden or would it be from a wholesaler? But I definitely think that this has a lot of potential for something that we could really kind of not maybe easily, but definitely it's very feasible to be able to implement something like that where people already are. And I think that Heart would be interested in supporting something like this, especially if we kind of take the lead on it. So yeah, something just to keep in mind.
That sounds really well.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And is Heart its own private organization or is it part of the county?
So HART is the Hillsborough Area Regional Transit Authority, and what it is it is a taxpayer funded. It's basically a government. It's like it's a quasi government institution agency. So they don't necessarily make policy, but they enact policy. And so they're the ones that basically run all of the buses. They're mostly buses. I don't think we have really any other form of transit. And so yeah, so all the bus programs, like the public bus, is administered through HART. Yeah, and it is countywide. So they go all the way down to South County. But they have monthly meetings just like we do. And so like I said, that could be a way we could kind of approach them and say, hey, we have this idea, other people have done it before. And would it be okay if we identified 1 or 2 bus stops, showed up with a table, showed up with some produce, maybe had like a SNAP recipient? There's a way that you can accept SNAP. And then and see if people are interested in buying produce just on their commute. Yeah. And I think even as far as like we could probably ask them they have like little places to put flyers in on the bus to like promote like community events. So like maybe we could design something like that. So hey, on Thursday we're gonna be, at these like the Marion Transit Center downtown. There's a lot of people there because that's where people are connecting and transferring. So that's maybe we show up there and try to be out there for 4 hours and see how many people actually take advantage of it. Just something. Yeah.
That's good.
In collaboration with the economic development.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, next on the agenda is number 1, which should be ACRE training. I know the acronym stands for something, but I have no idea what you didn't break it down. You want to talk about that, Savannah?
No,
All right.
so that was something that was posted on the platform as well. And Monica shared a little bit with the co-chairs about it stands for AgriCluster Resilience and Expansion. And it's an online facilitator training and certification program. And it is a professionally facilitated strategic planning process to help groups of farmers, especially those in value chains, work together and compete more effectively. So I'm just going to read it here. By identifying shared concerns, shared history, shared values, shared opportunities, and developing a strategic work plan, ACRE helps local and regional groups of farmers and their stakeholder allies, long list of allies here, begin to transform into more resilient agri-clusters. It provides instruction specifically designed for food and agriculture systems professionals to facilitate and guide the ACRE process with farmers and other community stakeholders. And it's an online course. I think it's self-paced.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it's multi-part. I think it's 3 parts. And it could be valuable as, we're talking about bringing people together. It makes you a facilitator. So you have a certification for doing that. And that could help us with our food access. Any thoughts? Yeah, like if we get it,
Sounds good.
if we get like a good enough size group, I think we can get like a discount on the price, and that would be a great continuing education opportunity. I don't know how many we were thinking of doing, like how many people from it.
Yeah, and so I think it said that we had 6 or more. So Savannah and I actually last year participated in a project with the same group. It's a different project, but we actually were extended and offered to do this for free. Versus if you all were to do it, then there would be a cost. But if we get 6 or more people to do it, then there's a discounted price for it. So I heard you ask, like, how long is it? I'm not exactly sure. It is like a self-paced online training, but I think if you do it in a group, then they try to structure like weekly check-ins, very similar to your cohort that you did, where you can do the online part individually, and then you get together to discuss the principles. I know, like, for me, sometimes it'd be beneficial to like have those check-ins and accountability, or else, a month later you're like, I didn't do my homework. So I I think we're gonna talk about it at the other working group meetings too. And if we can get 6 people, or even if we don't get 6, I still think that if only a handful of people want to do it, but it would take, commitment just basically to carve out. I don't know if it has the hours just because it might be, yeah, individual people might take longer, but separated into 3 parts. Each part has about 4 to 6 units. So I don't know how long a unit would be. I would imagine it would probably be like 10 to 15 hours that we could spread out over a month, 2 months, whatever pace we wanted to go at. But at the end, you get a certification, which is cool. And then also you get new skills on how to facilitate meetings. So like Savannah's kind of been our facilitator and she's done a really great job. But how to bring people together to identify shared history, values, visions. And the basis of this is because it will allow us to work better together when we want to build our food system. So it was an opportunity that I saw and thought that it would be worth kind of sharing with you all. I think that the strategy would be to see if there's people interested amongst the working group leaders, and then if not, then opening up to just the network app in general to see if we can get that 6 or more.
They also list, like, on their website, they'll like list people who in your area who have completed it,
cool.
so you could like potentially get listed, or maybe someone reaches out to you to help facilitate their thing. I don't know exactly how that works, but you can see like it has their name and I guess maybe an email address, and tells you where they're located. So you could probably get featured on this thing.
And it is a way like you could charge for your services. Like, like if St. Pete wanted to do something like this, then you need a facilitator, then you're a certified facilitator. And so, so I think that's why it has it on this page, is so that you can reach out to somebody and say like, hey, my community group. So it's just another tool to have in a toolbox. Yeah.
I wanted to have a better understanding. Is it more for like leadership growth or like management growth, or is this related to, like, I wasn't really clear.
So it's specifically for like supply chain development or like food system development, but it's a learning opportunity. So I look at it as leadership because you would be helping lead these conversations, but it'd also be you'll be learning how to basically make other people leaders in themselves. Like sometimes it's just kind of like inspiring them and teaching them common vocabulary and strategies. So I would say that it probably is like a leadership kind of development, but it's just strategies on best practices on how to work together. Yeah.
And this is open to the other work groups as well?
It's open to everyone. Okay.
Sounds good.
Well, next on the agenda will be B, reviewing platform posts since the last meeting. We did that, right? Okay,
So
all right.
I think she got all of them. I think there's a couple on there from your page. So we talked about the acre one.
Avery had posted something.
Yeah, Avery had posted about
The
like the
committee.
I'm like,
For
it's a bunch of C's.
Right. It's crazy.
Was Healthy Hillsborough Collaborative Environment Committee Work Group. So she put a copy of the charter on there, the work groups that do that CHIP, which is a community health improvement plan she talked about last time. And they have a chair, but they're still looking for a co-chair. And she's the Department of Health liaison. So there's supposed to be another meeting in June, virtually once a month. So if that's something you guys want to be part of, it might be valuable. And she put the charter on here if you wanted to look at it, or maybe somebody goes to that meeting and represents this group. Yeah.
She didn't mention a specific
Like what?
rotating schedule.
Right,
Yeah,
she did
so
not.
so they're still voting on
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not choices.
Because I think she has another role in that setting, so she wearing a lot of hats.
She did mention to vote, so I voted for
Oh, good,
specifically to join.
So then maybe I'll. And then you shared in a video about increasing food access in your community for Food Rescue Hero. Anyone else? Or you want to talk about it?
Yeah, sure. So was that for the last meeting or was that for this?
What day is it? I think this was after our last meeting.
Okay. Let me just pull it up because I'm a little forgetful.
Yes, it was a little while ago. Almost. Has anyone heard from Ethan?
No.
We have,
Just making sure. Is this-
I was already for a second. I was like,
Share my screen a second here. It's a 36-minute video, but that reminds you of anything?
Oh, okay, yes.
Okay, so this reminded you. That's
A
fine.
little bit, yeah.
Okay.
So there was another group, can't remember the specific state, but they were in a different state, maybe Maryland. And they were talking about different ways to increase food access in the community, with salvaging food that was about to go to waste to be able to redistribute into the community to either specific areas like schools or kind of like what Monica was saying, like bus stops, different areas so that it's a way to kind of reuse the food before letting it to reduce food waste pretty much. Mhm. Yeah. So I thought it was a good idea only because I came across this. Children's Board guide, which is in English and in Spanish. And I think I got this from my last position when I was working with WIC, but they have a lot of different resources here. And I just thought these would be a nice way to start to kind of like combine what they're doing and partners that we can potentially work with. I don't know if we already have someone, I think Regina, you mentioned that you know someone from the Children's Board.
yes.
So I wasn't sure if maybe this would be a good way to kind of build partnerships, if it were to be. And I'm only saying this because I have most of my experience has been with nonprofits in daycares and preschools and farm to school. So that's where my mind went when it came to that webinar.
Yeah.
Any other posts?
There was the grant from Shift. I think you guys listened. I think we talked about it in our meeting. Yeah.
We started talking about it.
Yeah. So when I looked at this grant, it is due like very soon.
Right.
But
Yes.
it also had like a preference for a couple states that were not here.
That we're not here.
But maybe it'd be something good to consider for the future, is looking at what the requirements are. And I know you were interested in it in general. So
I thought it'd still be okay to apply just so that we have that as a template that we can use for other grants.
I think it's due in like 3 days, so
Yeah,
I was like,
right.
don't go crazy trying to complete it right now, but it's but I think that would be a valuable grant. So it was the Shift Investing Locally for Lasting Change, where they were doing money for like mobile markets, yeah. So
and I think that this is a good example of some of the projects that we can think about that we can implement here. So like a teaching farm or a mobile market that they specifically mentioned, we do have a few urban farms here, but we do have a handful of community gardens. And so I think like, if anything, this can just be used as inspiration, maybe because just the due date is so close and it does have priority for other states. It might not be the best fit for us, but it's always good to kind of say like, oh, well, if they're doing it somewhere else, then we can do it here, right? And then, as far as like mobile markets, I know there are a handful of mobile market operations. I'm not sure if I have a relationship with any of them, but maybe in your previous, and I know that Elizabeth Roman with the YMCA. So it's just kind of good to start thinking about those things. So that way you're like, okay, what are the ingredients that we need here at a local level to be able to see this vision through?
And it got me thinking when I met with Regina, just thinking about a budget for and a vision for what it looks like to do like a teaching garden and in a larger scale, because they had 3 tiers, first year, second, and 3 years. And so it just made me think a little bit more about how can we improve food literacy and bring the community together and increase food access in those ways, which was nice.
Yeah, that's great.
We also had a post that Monica posted about the produce store in South St. Pete. It is on the agenda a little lower down because we're gonna just a new business, so we don't talk too much about it. We'll talk about it a little bit later. And then we had Eileen says, "Did you know?" series that we talked about. And then finally, Shelly posted some continuing professional development with the USDA free courses. So
There were a few, well, I took a look at a few, some are paid and some are free,
Okay.
but I like that they at least had, like just one place to go to find multiple classes or courses, which is nice.
don't forget, we have continuing education dollars, so don't let the cost scare you away.
Yeah.
That's all of our, oh wait, there is a post on the main page that I wanted to mention to you all. So this was just from your working group page, but on the main page this morning, I posted about Homegrown Hillsborough is starting a program called Emerging Professionals. And it's where we're going to connect interns with our network partners. We'll do the administration of it. So we're trying to get some funding through like USF so that we can pay the interns if your organization doesn't have money to pay an intern. And if that's something you're interested in, basically it's a year-long internship for high school or college students. We're not sure how much high school students can commit to anything yet, but we do want to keep it open to them. And we're going to give them like some background training on food systems. So there'll be kind of like a little cohort. So we'll do background training that way. And then we also want them to get hands-on experience with our network partners. So we're thinking 8 to 20 hours a week, kind of depending on their availability, funding, et cetera. If it's unpaid, then it would be max one shift in person, maximum 8 hours. So we don't want them to be, running crazy for an unpaid internship. But if that's something you guys are interested in or you want to share it with anyone, it is posted on the platform on the main page. And if you know of any students who might be interested, I don't think it's posted, like the student application isn't posted anywhere yet. I'm waiting for like USF to like sign some site agreements, but it's not just for USF. It's open to HGC, USF, UT, any high schoolers. I don't know what age of students you guys might know, but it's pretty open. I have a flyer. I don't want to put like 5 flyers up for the same thing out.
And it would start for the fall.
This fall, yeah. So it'll be soon. So we're trying to launch that. And we're going to do an in-person training for the network partners so that they know how to manage an intern. Maybe they haven't managed one before. And just to kind of keep everyone on the same page about how this is going to work. So there'll be an intern management training on July 18th. It's, I think, Friday? I don't remember.
Yeah.
It's a Wednesday or Friday. And we were going to provide lunch. Okay, you think it's Friday, yeah. And we're going to provide lunch. And actually, I think it's a Wednesday because it's the day before Juneteenth. So it's.
Oh,
so it's
June. I'm sorry. I thought you meant July 18th.
No, so yeah,
Because it's my brother's birthday.
Oh, wait, it is on July. Wait,
Yeah,
okay, I'm
it's
sorry.
July. Yep, July.
Maybe
That's a Friday.
Okay, it's Friday.
Yes.
I must
That's why,
be.
because I remember.
Sorry. We're doing something else.
Yeah.
We're doing something else the day before. Right, sorry, we did a lot of chatting yesterday. Okay, so July 18th, it is a Friday, and we will have lunch. And if you are interested or you know anyone who's interested, there's an application. It's pretty simple. Basically, just kind of want to know what type of projects you're looking for. And then we'll go from there. So spread the word, or if you're interested for your organizations, let us know. Or direct them to the application. It's on the platform. So.
And like a good example of this would be like if you have a small project that you want some help with, basically. So maybe you're interested in like researching tips for fundraising, and you can basically, what we'll do, Homegrown Hillsborough, is we'll kind of help teach you how to create an outline for your intern. And then you will be responsible for managing that intern. But at the end of the internship, maybe they can submit a report to you that says, hey, I spent so many hours researching different fundraising strategies, and here are some ones that I recommend for you. So those kind of things that can kind of help your organization or other organizations be more successful, but also because it is an intern, it is a student, it's also a learning opportunity. So sometimes I think people think like interns are free labor, and that's, but they take management, they're learning. This is the first time they've done these things. But it can be really useful, and it can be a great opportunity for both them to learn something and then for you to kind of take something off of your plate. So, mention it to any kind of partner orgs, or it can be things like, if somebody wants to help you build a website, or if, yeah, you want help like with digital branding, or if you, and we even do have an option for like, if somebody wants to just work in a community garden, you know, not computer based, but just, you know, if somebody wants to show up to a community garden, or, you know, whatever that is. So project based, kind of bite size, you know, on the easier side because there are students. But it is a really good opportunity for you to kind of practice your leadership skills, and then also for them to learn something new and then to bring them into the fold.
Wow. Is there a virtual option?
We did not. We split in person.
Okay.
It should be majority in person. Like, you don't have to sit over them while they grant write or something, but you should work together in person for, I would say, a majority.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant the actual July
For the
18th.
July 18th. I don't think, I don't know. We had,
Maybe, yeah.
see what kind of feedback we get.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it's like, you know, obviously with you telling us now ahead of time, we can always connect with you kind of directly. And
Okay.
I think our preference would be to have people in person, but we can work with you, yeah.
Okay, yep. Anything else on the policy?
That's it. That was the.
Okay. Well, next on the agenda is C, determine goals based on definition. A group that improves food access through increasing reliability, affordability, and familiar foods within your community. Priority number 2, priority areas. A, food literacy, nutrition, cooking classes, etc., culturally appropriate and familiar food. B, strengthening partnership, increasing capacity at food access points. C, advocate, educate, transportation / physical access, barriers to access. Okay, so we're gonna tackle our goals. And how many minutes do we have on that?
Majority of the meeting to talk about this. I would say maybe we save 15, 20 minutes of the meeting, so you have pretty good
20
amount of time. So
20 minutes?
save that much at the end. So you have like an hour and
Okay.
Oh, that's just for
an
that.
hour, and
Okay.
over an hour. Let's see. We
And then
have.
after the hour,
So
then
I
you
won't
can
even
do.
start a timer on this.
Okay.
No, but we do need to determine.
Right, they're due today. We need
So
to,
we gotta do it. And we wanna make sure we're thinking about the smart,
right, acronym, right,
yeah, so you want it to
exactly.
be very specific, measurable, so we can say after the working groups are completed next year in 2026, we did it, or we got this close to it, or we did, you know, there's gotta be somewhere we can measure it.
So who wanna have first shot at it, what goes, and what you guys, did your homework?
You guys want to use the whiteboard, or just, I know we're a small group too, so you can.
Okay.
Well, I thought one of the ideas from last month's work group was really nice, the neighborhood markets that Avery had mentioned as one of the goals, or one of the goals of the priority areas for, I would say, advocacy, or it could fall maybe in multiple priority areas. What does everyone else think?
Sorry, Michelle. Were you talking about the
I'm not
community
sure.
markets?
So the mobile, the
The healthy
neighborhood
neighborhood.
store, I'm sorry,
Okay.
healthy neighborhood store that Avery had brought up,
Mhm.
to kind of continue after that pilot that she had mentioned. I think that would be a nice goal going under the priority area for advocacy. That we could focus on maybe either the continuation with the same store, or potentially finding another, well, no, the same store, I would say.
Yeah.
I think it could also fall under strengthening partnerships too.
Quite honest with you. Can you give me like a really brief, like quick overview on what that means, the healthy neighborhood?
Do you remember our last meeting?
Our last
Yeah,
one?
yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm.
Another refresher, yeah.
Yeah, if you don't mind,
Okay.
real quick. I know she
What
had
is it?
mentioned they did a pilot with the DOH and a partnership with another group. And they did surveys, and they had like a table set up, and what they were doing was focusing on trying to increase, from what I remember, it was increasing fruit and vegetable intake at that specific store? Am I fresh? I think that's
Yeah.
what I understood.
Um,
Correct
We
me if I'm
have-
wrong.
More so
I'm-
like what the store had available. So they don't have very much like fresh food available. So to gauge interest of would people buy this? They wanted to know like what were these people's like favorite fruits or vegetables, and to determine if there would be value for the store owner to put fresh produce in there, and how we could help facilitate that, or how they could facilitate that through, give them an extra refrigerator, or they need like a wholesaler, or just it isn't profitable for them, so can you offset the cost, some things like that.
Yeah.
And so, does that make a little bit?
Yeah.
It's just that we're gonna identify markets in the neighborhood, okay, that want our assistance
Right.
in providing different services to make the community healthier. That's the sum of it. Am I correct? Yeah.
And I think Adrian had mentioned one store, but I don't know if there's other.
Buddies, I think
stores.
it's Buddies.
Yeah, were there others?
Well, see, that's the thing. We can identify, we can go to the community, whichever community we want to, and we can identify these stores, like maybe knocking on the doors and talking with the manager and asking them if they want to participate in this program that we're setting up.
I think
That's how you
definitely,
guys
yeah.
did it. Am I correct?
That's exactly how we did it. Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see how that falls into advocacy, because we're
Mhm.
reaching out, we're speaking to different vendors,
Mhm.
organizations, and asking them, what do you need help with?
Mhm.
We don't even know. Maybe they need help with something that's totally not even in our focus right now. So sure, I think that's a great idea.
So
Yeah,
how
can you
we make
guys hear
that
me
work?
okay?
Like, do we want to say increase
Okay.
produce in a certain number of neighborhoods?
JR, do you have anything you want to add? RJ, I'm sorry, I just know that. I didn't hear
Yeah.
his initials.
Can you guys hear me?
Initials was RJ. Okay, RJ, what,
Hello?
do you have any input or thoughts before we?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, they are.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, so part of I guess my role at the food bank too, connecting the PSC side, there's a lot of guides for healthy corner stores. And I think it could also fall under the strengthening partnership section too when it comes to increasing capacity. A lot of that has to do with connecting them to wholesalers like they had mentioned, and we can do that because we have a lot of those relationships with our retail pickup with Publix's and Kuzman's. So that's something we can definitely do. I think one of the things that they did that we should probably start with is working with that corner store, whatever we identify, to have them do like a needs assessment almost, or like a neighbor survey where we're kind of surveying the people that are coming through, seeing what they're looking for, what's the demographics, and seeing if they're open to that. I mean, it all depends if the store has the funds and is open to that idea. But there's a lot of resources out there and a lot of toolkits that have already done the work, and that's evidence-based that we can probably go through and pinpoint different interventions that we want to start with first.
I think that the event they held last year did sort of do that, where they determined what people who were walking up and like in around the store, what types of vegetables and fruits they were interested in and they liked, and they handed out samples. So I think part of that has already been done. So
Cool.
we're
It's kind of
a
like
step
the
ahead,
second
yeah.
stage. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
second stage.
And we would have to just make sure that so the like, I don't know if it was it called a working group? It was like the committee, what do we want to call it?
Yeah.
Too many working groups.
Yeah, I
The neighborhood
it
store
was the working group, but it's no longer like a thing anymore.
So we need to like rally some more advocates, I guess, or some champions.
Yeah.
Because you guys don't need to like do it all, there's people who have already been working on it. So like we talked about having
Miss
Miss
next
Kitty
month.
come, talk next
Yeah,
month.
she's ready.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
great.
And I will say, to echo what RJ said, that there are a lot of toolkits. I just Googled healthy health. So a lot of us call it healthy corner store. We call it healthy neighborhood store because we don't really have corner stores in the same tradition. But so healthy corner store toolkit and a bunch of options, like different resources came up. And I mean, they really do have like step-by-step instructions.
Oh, good.
So I think that kind of getting back to the goal, we could set a realistic goal to do 4 healthy neighborhood store events between now and next year. And then using these toolkits to basically, and like the first one would be kind of the quote unquote hardest just because it's the first time you do it. And then the other ones, the goal would kind of be to get more people to come out and to build those relationships. So you know, a lot of the kind of the groundwork has already been done. So I think that is a really good step in the right direction. And I do think that I would fall into that transportation physical access, because that's kind of the whole thing is if someone can't access fresh food, then we should bring the fresh food to them. Yeah. And we had a really positive experience with Buddies. And so we kind of just did it as a one-off just to kind of get it done. But I do think that they would be interested in, if we were to say, you know, 2 events, 4 events, you know, getting a calendar out and kind of committing to those dates. I think they would be really interested in that.
And it makes more sense to focus on one store versus diversify.
Maybe not. I don't know. It depends on kind of capacity, right? So I think kind of the sooner we could spread it, the better. But also we have to be realistic about capacity. But if you guys set this goal, especially with like the mini grants and stuff, network partners might be interested and helping. And then if we have, you know, 20 people that are interested in this, then we can definitely do more stores. I would say that when we did it, we kind of like just kind of did it to like get it done and to just kind of try. And it was me, Avery, Serena, Dahlia, and Kitty. So that's 5 people. And you don't need 5 people at every one. We were just having fun and we were hanging out together. It was a nice day. But we set up a table. We had some star fruit. And we had a star fruit recipe, and we had already kind of diced it up so that way they could take little bite-sized samples. And then we had a little survey that they filled out. And we had like a kid-friendly version, so that way it had like little pictures and they could circle what they wanted. And then we had like an adult version that was more kind of like check the box. So yeah, so you know, if we had a lot of people interested in it, and I think we could definitely do more stores. Yeah.
And when you mean network partners, just because I'm not familiar with the lingo, what does that mean?
The rest of the Homegrown Hillsborough people. So like you guys are kind of working group leaders, but on the platform we have like over 200 people that are on it. So if we were to put out a call for action and say we're looking for network partners that are so Homegrown Hillsborough is the network, and then a partner is basically anybody who's on the platform. And so, you know, the Food Access Group has decided that one of our goals is to host 4 healthy neighborhood store events between now and next year. We're looking for partners to participate, or more specifically, what will happen is that those mini grants, if they fit that goal, then they will be looked on more favorably. And I do think a lot of people have this as a goal of theirs, is to increase access. So.
Let me just read to you what I did. Yeah, because I wasn't thinking so much of the logistics part of this. I was just thinking in terms of what we had defined, our definition and the priority areas. So I came up to say, and I might be, you know, this might be a little bit too much, but this is what I thought I would want to see in a grant. You know, someone who's wanting a grant is to make sure they understand that this is for, well, we're going to support the community. We're going to support neighborhood stores by providing resource opportunities, partnering with community garden for affordable foods, and conducting cooking classes for nutritional and culturally appropriate food. That was just one of my their definition. Another one was to provide assistance to neighborhood stores through education, funding, facilitate cooking classes on nutrition and culturally appropriate food through government programs such as SNAP, and identifying community gardens for affordable foods. Those are basically coming from this. Okay, what we've already decided on our definition and priority areas. So the logistics part of it, to me, I think would come after I'm just thinking out loud.
Well, I think that those are like, you have 95% of the goal right there. The only thing that's missing is the measurable. Yeah, and time bound. So you said, you know, is community gardens, how many community gardens?
As many of them who will hit us up through, through healthy, through the Coalition of Community Gardens, because now they have over 60 something community gardens, and we could just send out an email, just like we can do with Homegrown, and say, hey, we need your help. How many of you guys are willing to?
And the thing with goals is that you can always beat them.
Right, exactly.
So if you set a goal to do 6 community gardens and you get 25,
right, that's good.
Then you supersede your goal. But it is important to have a number, because it just gives you a little bit more direction. And so once again, at the end of the year or on a year from now, wherever we're kind of making that time bound, we want to be there's going to be a big check involved. And so did we reach 6 gardens? We reached 30 gardens, big check. Did we reach 6 gardens? We only reached 4 gardens. That's, we fell short. So just to have that measurable aspect is really valuable. But I mean, like I said, what you just read to me, I think the only thing that's maybe missing from me, like a specific goal, would be having
the
numbers,
having the numbers, and the time.
And the time
frame.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Do we want to do that by the end of the summer? If so, we got to get to work yesterday, right? And do we want to do that in 10 years from now? Then I'll see you all in 6 months. We have lots of time, right? So that's what kind of helps set that pace. And like I said, and so I will say for the coalition, they have 60 gardens, but those gardens aren't all in Hillsborough.
That's what I was thinking.
Well, wait a minute. I thought we had one in St. Pete and then one in.
That's what I'm saying. So those gardens wouldn't be eligible for.
Oh, that's right. It has to be.
Hillsborough
Okay.
planning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
So if we have 60 gardens, but I think a majority of them, 30 of them are here in Hillsborough, then, and we want to get 25% of them to come and engage with us, then we can create that goal from there. So, but so will you read again kind of what you had?
Well, there were 2. I read 2
Yeah.
to you. Okay, so here's the first one I read to you. To support neighborhood stores by providing resources, opportunity, partnering with community gardens for affordable foods, and conduct cooking classes for nutritional and culturally appropriate foods. That was number 1. Number 2 was to provide assistance to neighborhood stores through education, funding, facilitate cooking classes on nutrition and culturally appropriate food through government programs. And it should be like SNAP, identifying community gardens as a partner for affordable foods.
Cool. And so for that second one, how would you know if you did it or not?
Well, now we're going to put the numbers in the time.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe you host one education event where we get someone from the Department of Health or SNAP, whoever administers SNAP, to come and talk to them about whether they have SNAP or not. And I mean, even before that, they might already have SNAP. We got to figure out who has SNAP and who doesn't.
Right.
So that's kind of how you start creating these like milestones. You have these goals and you have these milestones. So putting the numbers in basically. So you want to provide assistance through education, funding. And so education is a workshop. It's
right.
And then we have to invite them and we have to book a room and all of those things. That's how you kind of ultimately say, okay, we did it,
And then we want to, how many cooking classes we want to have.
Right. And who's going to do it, right?
And do it.
So Well Fed offers that as a service. It's a turnkey thing. You give them money, they give you a cooking class. Or if we wanted to support a different nonprofit or a different organization that Nick from Artistries maybe does cooking classes too. He won't be as turnkey. He might need a little bit more help because Well Fed has done them hundreds of times. So they know exactly what to do. But if we wanted to kind of help with somebody else, also build their capacity. So it's just kind of like, how do we want to approach this? And the trade-off is that if we go the Well Fed route, that's easy. Yeah. We ask them,
they know what
they schedule, they show up. If we use somebody else, that might take a little bit of back and forth. It might be the first time they might forget to bring gloves, right? Just because it's their first time doing it. And that's fine because we're all learning together. So it's just a matter of how we want to, like how much capacity we have, really. Yeah.
Like if we don't want to do Well Fed, okay, and we want others to come and partner as well. well fed is so good, and they've been doing this in the community for a long, long time. But what do we want to bring someone like Michelle in, because this is what you do as well for your people. Am I correct? You know, for your business. Explain that to us.
Sure, yeah. So most of my experience has been in community nutrition in nonprofits in New York. Then I started working with the county back in 2022 to 2023 to kind of build their nutrition curriculum and programming. And I did that for about a while at 4 different community centers. And so I think that this is something that there's a great need for, because I see that the community responds well to it, especially because at that time I was doing bilingual classes. I feel like it was really a need. And so also after that, working with WIC, I provided not necessarily cooking classes, but more one-on-one counseling and more of like breastfeeding support. And that was because of the population. But I feel like this is something that we can definitely tie into the Healthy Corner Stores initiative. So I think that's great.
Well, and healthy is broad, right?
Yeah,
So we're
yeah.
talking about fruits and vegetables, but breastfeeding support could totally be part of that. That's nutrition. That's health. And so it's just a matter of how we want to define it. I will say that, maybe what we could do is we could get Well Fed to do a training for people like Michelle, for people like Healthy 22nd Street, or other people that are interested in doing these classes, but maybe just could benefit from learning from someone else. Because you guys have the community food ambassador program. Like, there's just so many ways that we could do this. And it just kind of, once again, we have to just kind of like set a line in the ground and just try to go with it. Because I think also Department of Health has nutrition classes, right? Yeah. I think Feeding Tampa Bay does too. So,
and all of ours are free for Hillsborough County residents, and they're offered virtually in person. So there's both options. There's blood pressure, get into fitness today, diabetes prevention program, and diabetes self-management, but all of them have a nutritional component to it. In particular, the GIFT class. It's like obesity prevention, but it's also very much about nutrition and being mindful of, what you eat, calorie counting, all of that. So it's definitely a resource to tap into.
Same with Feeding Tampa Bay. We have our nutrition educators in the different county. I think within Hillsborough, we have 3. We do youths and adults. A lot of our nutrition education classes kind of target a lot of our neighbors who are accessing our services. So it's kind of revolved more around trauma-informed nutrition education with people in crisis, but it also general public.
So, there's a lot of educators already out there. Maybe if we do 4 of these events, we want Well Fed to do one, the Department of Health to do another, Feeding Tampa Bay to do another, and then Michelle to do another, right? That way we can kind of spread the love. Everybody gets an opportunity. Things to consider.
To entice them to apply for your grant.
Yeah,
Right,
Because they have
exactly.
to want to do it.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question about, like, when we're trying to define the goal? I think we already have our goal. Is that right? Like, this is our goal, or are we defining the goals within the priority areas?
I mean, you just have to your goals should relate to your priority areas, but you don't have to make a goal for every priority area. Like, this one needs several of them. So, it's kind of up to you guys how you're doing it. But they should relate to one another.
Right, and that's what I tried to do. When I was looking at this, I tried to wrap them all up into what we've already identified, except for as Monica said, the numbers, the time frame. Yeah.
So what I have written here, I probably didn't quite catch your whole thing, but I wrote support neighborhood stores by providing resources, opportunities, partnering with community gardens for fresh food.
For affordable
Okay,
foods. And conduct cooking classes for nutritional and culturally appropriate foods. That was the first.
And I think they kind of.
Yeah, they were overlapping. They were just plain old words.
Okay, and then I also, underneath that, I really post, so we'll put the numbers here. You want to say one education event about SNAP, or what are the numbers? So how you want to provide, you want to have an education event, how many cooking classes do you want, or how many events?
How many guys do you think we want to do?
some numbers on it.
Well, our timeline starts in September, or like once the grant is
This is for all the way through October of next year. So all of the future grants will relate to all of these.
Right, and this is what the minimum, at least what we want from
Right.
the recipient, I mean, the ones who's applying for the grant, am I
We
correct?
want them to
Yeah,
complete these
based,
over
exactly.
the course of, not
Right.
by themselves maybe, but over the course
Course.
of the year or
Mhm.
until October 2026, maybe one person does this part of the goal and one person does this. So when they apply for like this first grant, they might say, I'm gonna host a class at Buddy and Dan's Grocery and I need this much money to host a nutritional demo. And then you say, great, that works right towards our goals. So that's what we want. We want to award it to you. So these goals are, I say long-term, but it's not that long. You know, it's only till October of next year. So as far as numbers, what are we thinking? How
Okay.
many?
I mean, 4 sounds like a good starting point. I just don't. What
For,
does everyone think?
So for what? For events? to get all together?
well, wait a minute, let's start with, first of all, let's start with the educational. How many classes that you think that we need to have to,
Well, when I was envisioning for that shift grant, I was thinking monthly to do a nutrition class monthly, but
yeah.
I mean, we can think about what the schedule would look like.
You can always
Adjust.
shoot for monthly, but say you're gonna do 6 because
Yeah. We just want-
realistically,
yeah.
when the last year won't even start
Yeah.
until first grant is distributed, so.
Okay, so let's say 4, we would have 4.
I would.
I think 4
I
is
will
a safe
start it
number.
going.
So have 4 cooking classes?
Yeah.
And that's just in the community or where? Like at the neighborhood store or just,
I was thinking the neighborhood store.
okay, like outside? of the-
Yeah, because we want to do the demo there at the neighborhood stores.
So my only thoughts.
I think 4 sounds good. I wouldn't want to do more than that. 'cause that might be
Right,
a little
exactly.
far-reaching. But I would say, are we talking about possibly doing the neighborhood store where we have the corner store?
Right, that's what we're
Okay,
talking about.
Because on the surveys, a lot of those that did fill out the survey, those in the community that stopped by and did the survey part, a lot of them did indicate that they were interested in a cooking demo.
Mhm.
I don't remember the exact number off the top of my head, but I know several did
Mhm.
indicate that they would be interested in that. So
So let's start with the number 4, be sent.
Do you still have the?
Yeah, I'll
the
put
data?
it into,
Like the
our
survey?
folders. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I'll put all
that'd be
the.
Can I say something? And I don't mean to knock what you're
No,
saying.
no problem.
I just wanna, like, I guess, have a better understanding. Like, because when I see this, it's great, it's awesome, but when it comes to food access, I feel like a lot of what community gardens and organizations are doing right now are these things already. It's like so not, again, not to knock what you're saying, but I wonder if we do these things, what is it that we're trying to facilitate change? In my opinion, right? So
Yeah.
so if they're doing it already, what is it that we're doing different? Not, again, I'm not trying to, knock it, but I just wanna, like, I want us to be separate. I want us to like stand out and like, if we're gonna conduct cooking classes, aren't a lot of community gardens already doing? I don't know. I mean, are they doing that or are they not?
I have input, sorry.
Yeah, no, you go.
I was gonna say that with one of your definitions being increasing reliability, you're doing more of them, right? So there are a lot of people that are doing these efforts already, but if I wanted to go to if I lived in East Tampa and I wanted to go to a cooking class today, is there one available? Maybe not. And so just by increasing the availability of them, the reliability of them, that is a step in the right direction. And so a lot of times, especially because we are all united by very similar goals and visions, the question is like, how am I doing anything different? And sometimes you don't have to do anything different. You just need to do it in your spot. Yeah. Or right. Like if I leave my house, is there a community garden near me? The answer is no for where I live. So even though community gardens have been invented and there's lots of them out there. There's still not one that I can walk to. So that could be something we do, is put a community garden in my neighborhood, right? Like it's my neighborhood, but or we do need one, but it's not a high priority area. But so yeah, so that would be my response to that, is like what we don't have to necessarily do anything different, or like the difference can just be expanding it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm sorry, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not familiar, I'm more healthcare
Yeah.
related,
It's a good
so
question.
Yeah, that's a
I
really
like
good
to
question.
ask questions to kind of see where we're going and we're on the right track, but again, I'm
Yeah.
not trying to like,
And I think you
fear.
are, yeah.
Could I add to
Yeah.
that point too? I think that brings up a really good point. I think it's good that we are doing these and we're targeting the right corner stores, but to add sustainability to it after this work group is done, how do we know that they're going to continue doing it? I feel like partnering with the coalition that Monica and Avery were a part of, or I don't know the reason why it's like no longer continued, or it's at a hiatus like a boy band from the 90s is, but maybe finding a way to, can we use this group to start that up again? Can one of our goals be to have, 4 meetings in the next year, or like quarterly reoccurrences, where we create the group, we create objectives for them, so that when this work group is done, that continues on with the corner store. Can that be a potential goal?
I think it would be, and I would say that like the short answer to your question is why isn't it happening anymore, is because we don't have a champion, right? Like, and I think that's kind of the crisis of a lot of this stuff, is that it takes someone whose deliberate responsibility is to see this through. And so our like champion that basically brought this to life last time was our previous employee Serena, but she was only with us through the end of December last year. And so when her employment ended, there wasn't another champion that was ready to take it on. And so I do think that should be a goal, is to identify
Community champion.
the champion who's going to carry this forward. So Homegrown Hillsborough and this working group, we can kind of help start it up, and we can even
Be like the
provide
catalyst
material.
to start
Yeah.
it.
But then also making sure that through these 4 events that somebody is getting excited to take it on, basically. So that way we can all step back and it can still live. But I think that's a really good goal.
For what it's worth too. Sorry, go ahead, Michelle.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, I think it makes more sense when it's the people that live in that community,
Yeah.
that they care about the community, so it ignites passion within them to be able to continue that and make it sustainable.
For what it's worth, a lot of that aligns with kind of the work we're doing too on the Snap Ed team. So we would be able to fund some of the resources. So if a store needed, shelves, shopping carts, or whatever we decide that is helpful, we can add that value to it. I mean, we can't, pay somebody to do this, or give them like an office, but when it comes to like finally deciding what kind of materials a site might need, the Feeding Tampa Bay would be able to support that, at least until Snap Ed's
I think
there.
that's incredible, because, and this is a hard problem we're going to get into over and over again. It's hard to pay someone just to do the job. So oftentimes you can get equipment, supplies, all lots of other things that people will donate or pay for, but personnel and staff money is hard, and that's almost the most important part, right? Like, or else you're relying on volunteers, and that is just not as reliable. Yeah. But if we can get Feeding Tampa Bay to help with the shelves and the carts and advertising, whatever, and then we can get Homegrown Hillsborough to help with some of the other kind of materials, then we probably will need to fundraise to some extent. Maybe not us, we. When I talk about we, I'm talking about all of us, right? Not necessarily us. But maybe it's a grant that we write that helps fund that position. Maybe it's some kind of partnership with the children's board, right? Maybe it's there's lots of like options for this, but it is a realistic thing to consider. Maybe there is a volunteer in that neighborhood who's happy. They're retired and they're happy to kind of do that. I don't know if that's sustainable or not, but those are things to think about. I want to plug that WellFed has something called the Community Food Ambassador Program, where they teach community champions basically how to step into leadership. So I think combining what RJ was talking about with like the Snap Ed, and then maybe with the Community Food Ambassador, if we were to find a champion who's interested in this in the neighborhood, then we could basically just kind of help with that assistance and education that you were talking about, in order to get them to step into leadership. Yeah.
Sorry.
No. One of the things I was gonna say to you is that I live in East Tampa, which is, we consider a desert community. And you're absolutely right about the transportation. It's not just about food, it's about transportation as well. But there are several, Nicole Henderson, with Healthy, I think it's Tampa, I'm sorry.
Family health.
Yeah, okay, she has a garden, okay, on Osborne and 22nd. And then you have Kenny with Middleton on the other side of her. Then you have H22 further south of them. But you have all of these stores there. And then you have Lee Davis. I forgot Lee Davis on 26th and 22nd. You have all of these stores. These people still need the resources in that community. And I don't care, if you have 1, 2, or 3, they need more people like us to come into the community. And so you're not overextending your services. Basically, because it's not just 22nd, there's other parts of Hillsborough County, that people are doing the same thing. You're absolutely correct. People need these resources. They need because funding is becoming so limited. And you have people, SNAPs is being reduced. So you have a lot of issues going on besides what was already there. Yeah. So you want to be the more the merrier. Right. To me, that's just the way I see it.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. Because for me, my perspective is I only get the patient side of it, and all I hear is food insecurity. And
but you don't know what
I don't know what that means for other individuals, other than I can't afford, and what I know about food deserts, but I don't I know that around me, I can probably find a class for nutrition, but I don't know, in East Tampa or, I don't know what that looks like. So I think that, it's helpful that you clarified that, and maybe can we partner with people that can do assessments? Because I think we need to know where the difficulties lie, or maybe we know them and I just don't know it because maybe I'm a healthcare sector and all I talk to is the patients, I don't really have that familiarization.
Well, there's a study out there through Nicole Henderson. We can get it from her, and I'll send it to you. Where those areas are, those neat areas.
Yeah, there's a lot of data.
Yeah, a lot of
there.
Yeah. Yes.
Definitely. And nationwide. So the kind of first spot is there's a USDA map that identifies low income, low access, which is food deserts. And you can zoom in. It goes to the census level, but that's basically the neighborhood level. And so we can identify those quickly. And then the next step from there would they say, okay, within this neighborhood, where are the corner stores? Which actually, what I'm about to upload into the food access, a lot of that is in here. Okay. So I would encourage you to click around. And that actually it's not data that we found, it's data from the Network to End Hunger. They're still a nonprofit that's around, but they're not really as involved. They did an assessment a few years ago. So it's a little outdated, but it's still largely true. Like food insecurity, unfortunately, hasn't gotten any better. Right. So if it was true then, it's probably true now. So yeah, but these are really good things to raise because once we're making good progress with our first goal. But a lot of times you do have to ask, where's that baseline? Where are we starting? And you do need data for that. Yeah.
I want to know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. And I will say, have any of you been involved with the USF food think tank?
I think
Yeah. And so that's something that we can ask USF to do too, right? Is to help us find the research and to find the data, because that's kind of their expertise. And so if we have a data question, I think we could reach out to somebody in that group and say, hey, can you help us find this? Because you're good at that, and you could probably do it in a few minutes versus us taking, a lot longer. So just think about. Yeah.
Can you tell me what the think tank, what is that?
I'm not really sure. It's a new group at USF where it's very similar to Homegrown Hillsborough, but it's from a more of a research an academic vantage point. It also is more Bay Area, so it's not just Hillsborough, it's also St. Pete and Manatee. And then they have similar working groups, but they're not all the same. And then so like with Homegrown Hillsborough, our like contribution ultimately is going to be like programming and projects. So doing these pop-up things at the corner stores, things like that. Their kind of contribution, I think, is going to be more like assessments, research reports, evaluations, things like that.
So they already have done that research within Hillsborough County.
To some extent.
Okay.
And I want to say this, for the most part, all the research has been done. It's just a matter of, do we know where it is and how do we find it,
exactly.
and if it's updated. But there are lots of government agencies, university groups, nonprofits that are doing assessments, research, things like that. And so my kind of gut reaction is generally to, unless we have a specific like feasibility study, usually the data is already out there. It's just a matter of compiling it together.
Mhm.
Yeah. So where's our latest goal?
I'm like, we have.
Yeah.
Just for cooking classes. But are we saying, are they hosting them at the neighborhood store or in the vicinity? I would say, because you kind of don't know what they got going on. Like, is it going to be outside cooking class? They're kind of hard, but it's not impossible. And I don't know. It depends. Like, do you just want to say like,
Can it be inside?
actually in or close to a neighborhood store?
Okay, in the community, they are close. However, that grantee, wants to do that, but give them the option.
All right, so like maybe we say like within a, I don't know, what's like a walkable distance, like under a mile radius?
Yeah.
All right, I think that's even a mile is kind of
Within a
a lot,
mile.
yeah.
I
No,
think that is
that's a
a
little bit
quarter
much.
mile. Yeah.
It's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another question I was gonna ask. When do we start in the cooking class?
That's what I was
Because if it's during hurricane season, maybe it should be out or inside, you know what I mean?
Well,
And it's
isn't that
hot.
be for the recipient to figure that out? As long as they do it before a certain time, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Wouldn't that be, they
But
feel.
It would be after September.
We're just
Okay,
telling them
we're
we're
safe.
So we're gonna.
We'll say that on the grant.
Okay, so we're hosting 4 cooking classes at or within, I said half a mile, just.
Half a mile radius.
0.26, yes.
Mhm.
I said of an identified neighborhood store, but I think for quarterly, it'll balance out.
Yeah.
What other numbers do we want to have here?
How many we want to reach, right?
We have like a certain number of customer share.
How many,
That's how many stores.
community gardens are there in Hillsborough County, like roughly, do we know?
Well, we have, it's a 62, my lady, I think was the lady.
Yeah, I'm gonna look on the website and see if that.
Oh, she looking, right now,
But-
62?
That's all.
But that's a little.
that's
when you're close to. the
Yeah,
neighborhood.
it's close to the, right, yeah.
Buddies, I think, so whatever's on there.
So that
Where
may-
is buddies?
So it's kind of more Sulphur Springs than East Tampa.
Okay.
That's right.
Here, let me.
Waters.
Buddies.
Near Rowlett Park.
Roulette Park, okay.
It's on Waters and 18th.
That's the area we're focusing on?
It's Buddies and Danny's is the name of it. Well, and so that's a good question. Is that the answer? So that is a low income, low access
Mhm,
neighborhood.
right,
So it does meet that qualification. The reason why we kind of keep talking about it is because we have a previous relationship with them. But that doesn't
Excuse me.
commit us. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can just go find a new relationship with somebody. So yeah, that's just who we reach out to them and they said great, and then that was kind of it. But there are other options. But yeah, so this is they said off waters. Is that what? Yeah, it's off waters.
So then should we specify that these classes need to be within a food desert or? I don't know.
Yeah, so what I wrote here was that an identified neighborhood store, so we can say that like the neighborhood store needs to be in a low income, low access area.
Can you put that in quotes, low income?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
They have a map, don't they?
Coalition of Community Gardens?
Yeah, because I'm trying to find the map of all the gardens.
Did she load it on there already? They haven't.
Join the garden?
Yeah, go to Join Gardens and
Yeah.
see.
Cool.
Okay, got it?
Yeah.
So we're trying to think of a number of how.
Yeah, but we
How
want to
restrict
identify
something.
gardens, right?
But we're trying to find ones just what close to waters or what's the strategy there?
Would it be
I
good,
can
like,
think of-
a mile, within the mile from that store? Like,
Yeah, I think we should focus on one area because Hillsborough County is so big
So
and we
big.
have, what, 2 years for this? So this is a lot of time
Yeah.
for 2 years, you know, if it's successful, then we'll go to another.
Another
Yeah,
area.
another, it's just like to try to determine all this stuff is.
It's overwhelming, it's overwhelming, yeah.
So focus on, your buddies, I guess, right?
And their 20 seconds.
I don't know how many community gardens.
You
are,
have
but-
a healthy
But it doesn't have to be the community garden in that area, it could be others that
well, let's say, okay, let's
What do you
say,
mean, like to
to
deliver?
deliver their goods to this
To this
area.
area. That's true, that's
You
true.
can just say like, we want to identify 3 produce partners,
Mhm.
so it doesn't even have to limit you to community gardens, maybe
Mhm.
find a local distributor or small farm that has excess or something like that.
Mhm.
So maybe identify 4.
Let's keep it
I
at
would say,
4.
yeah.
Four, they're called produce
What you
partners.
think?
Okay, let's start small.
4,
Yeah.
we want to keep it at,
I'd say no more.
we don't want to too high and too low. We want to stay in
Well,
the,
and starting small does make the most sense because it's the most realistic, and then also you get to celebrate your wins.
Timeable.
Yeah.
Right, so we could well, yay, let's do it again.
Measurable, okay.
Yeah. When I was talking to Savannah about this a little bit yesterday, with the economic development group, they're interested in building like a food hub and infrastructure. But before we get a 10,000 square foot, multi-million-dollar facility, we should go to the farmer's market and get 10 people to show up and buy our product, right? Like before you assume that you're gonna have all these customers, you should get evidence of just like a few of them. So the same thing, right? Is
Yeah.
before we, if we're gonna eliminate food insecurity in East Tampa, we should probably just get 20 people to show up to our cooking event,
Mhm.
So, but yeah, starting small is good.
Do we want to identify zip codes or just say East Tampa?
well, we can identify the zip code, because I know there's 33605 and 33610, and is it 7 as well?
Is that
Monica,
not
is
a
it
good
seven?
idea?
I'm
It's
worried that
telling-
you're just gonna
telling-
like box somebody out by.
Yeah,
like,
okay, yeah. People gonna come in from other places by a friend or something that's not in that area. Yeah, okay.
Say Central and East Tampa or just East Tampa?
Just say East Tampa for right now, okay?
Well,
Okay,
again,
you want to limit it?
well, so I do think that we should clarify loosely what East Tampa is, because like, I think Buddy's is maybe in
It's
Sulphur Springs.
Spring.
Okay.
So, so would that
That would
qualify
be-
for you, or would it?
Better just.
Yeah, because like I just if we just keep it low income, low access.
City limits, it's in the city limits.
Okay, I think
It's in the
city
city
limits.
limits. It's in the city limits. Okay. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, is Sulphur Springs?
Was it?
Yes, it's in the
County.
city, yeah, it's city, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's like one of the more northern parts of the city.
But when you say city, then you may confuse people because Tampa TPD, Tampa Police Department is considered their city downtown.
Mhm.
So county and city are 2 different areas. So I don't know if using that word city, it might confuse, well, are they talking about Tampa Bay, downtown area?
Well, the city limits within Hillsborough County. You
Yeah,
want
so
to
it's
do
the city
that,
limits, I think, yeah, so.
you know?
It's like there's one, like it's, so we can say neighborhood store must be within a low income, low access area within the city of Tampa.
Yeah.
Within
That's-
the-
that's-
I don't wanna
that's-
confuse you. I'm just trying to clarify so that people are like, well, what do they mean by that?
Yeah,
You
so
know?
we're not gonna go to like Lutz. and do something
Sure.
there.
Or like Apollo Beach. Yeah, exactly, yeah. And so I think that, I don't think we're in the city right now. Bears, maybe Bears.
It's just cut right.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not city limits. No, it's not.
This is
not.
the
No,
county.
this is the county. Yeah.
City
think
is
so.
downtown.
I think it like cuts right on this side of Bears, like I think.
Yeah.
The other
Other side of it.
Here, I'll pull it up.
Like, I literally think it's like, I think it might
The
be.
only
County,
reason I'm
okay,
saying that,
alright.
No, that's weird, or link to
would have to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like, tell people, you know, we have to navigate them to TPD because this is the city and it's very central, it's very local.
So we are here, the city limits here, so we are not in the city.
Oh,
right
so
now.
we're one, just like
Yeah.
one.
And I get it, but,
That's what I thought.
like, there is a real line for this. So basically, if you want to apply for this grant or this mini grant, we're saying, or you will be looked favorably if you apply for a low income, low access within
Mhm.
these dotted
No,
lines.
right. There we go.
And that can be down in, like, there's low income, low access neighborhoods down in South Tampa, like the Port,
Port Tampa, yeah.
yeah,
Port
yeah.
Tampa.
That's a low income, low access neighborhood, or it can be in East Tampa, Sulphur Springs. I feel probably up here there might be something, you know, so
But Carol, that
But
is, that's
technically
not,
not the city.
yeah, that's not the city, that's.
Yeah.
Yeah, Claremont.
yep,
So we are identifying the city.
within the city limits.
City,
Right, within the city limits. Yeah, that's good.
So my mama's not within the city. limits.
No, no,
Oh, my mama's.
they need it.
Yeah, it is.
So,
But we'll deal
so
with
do
it
you
later.
want to keep it? I feel like it's better.
Well, and so Michelle, with this, like, if you wanted to do a project or if you wanted to work with someone down in Mama to still apply, you still can. It's just that right now we're kind of setting like the priority, and then once we get our 4 and we successfully reach this goal, then we say, okay, let's expand it to Hillsborough County. It's just to start somewhere to get that win and to try everything out. And so that way, okay, we did it. We had great turnout. People are saying they really, learned a lot. Our relationships with Feeding Tampa Bay and the health department are all warm and ready. Let's take this down to Wamama. Let's go to Lutz. Let's go to, Dover, Sefner, yeah. So, but I understand that, it's what's special to you and you want to advocate for it, and you still can. It's just that, like, the priority is, as we are deciding right now, is in the city limits, but it doesn't always have to be that way. And basically we want to use this as a pilot. So that way when we do show up from Wamama, we have all our equipment and we're ready and we've been before. Yeah.
My actual goal is town and country, because that's where I'm at.
Okay, yeah.
I know that's falls within.
That's the county.
Yeah.
That's right.
But maybe this is a good thing because we're starting off centrally, right? Where everybody
Right,
knows.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's where Tampa was initiated, and then
Then you
everything
see it,
else
right.
will hear about it. Oh, next year.
Truly.
Apply for that.
That's the dream is to show success, and then we'll have this champion identified. And so great, you can keep it up. We're gonna move on to the next and expand. Yeah.
So our goals, numbers wise, host 4 cooking classes at or within half a mile of an identified neighborhood store. Neighborhood store must be within a low income, low access area within the city of Tampa. Identify 4 produce partners to supply local produce to neighborhood store.
That sound good to me?
Did that cover all?
What you think, RJ? Sound good?
Good. I know that this is supposed to be more of like a guiding for the people that are applying, right? I mean, this is what we want to accomplish, but essentially it's people applying and seeing what our goals are and saying, hey, I can do that too.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep. Or, if, basically that, hey, I can do that. I can meet that service. And I want to apply for it.
Avery, you have anything else to?
I think that sounds good. I think that sounds good. I'm definitely interested in still being a part of the neighborhood store initiative. I'm helping with other work groups and of course with my other assignments, like I couldn't be the champion for it, but I'm more than happy to help maybe identify somebody who could. I know I've mentioned to you all that I serve as the liaison on an environment work group that falls under work groups that with this Healthy Hillsborough Steering Committee. meetings, so I can definitely pass the word along about that neighborhood store initiative and see if anyone in that group would be interested, because we have a lot of really passionate individuals in that group. They really want to get to work. So the neighborhood store, there's a lot of overlap, as we talked about a lot last time, between that working group and this group. So I can definitely see if we can garner some support. If not the champion, like at least get some more people to be on board to that. So great. I just wanted to add that in there.
And so I did upload the Healthy Corner Store, Healthy Neighbor Store folder, and it has a lot of files in it. So I would definitely some homework in between now and I think next is to go and look at those. One of the important, you don't have to, it's not gonna be a test, but just to familiarize yourself. Well, and really to see that like so much work has been done.
Right.
And so one of the important ones I think would be there's a Healthy Corner Stores guide. It is a resource from the USDA, and it has really good insight on kind of what this could all be. So for example, right now I'm looking at a little table that says kind of before and after. So a typical corner store, and then a corner store improvement. And so one of the examples is like a typical corner store, little to no fresh fruits and vegetables available for purchase, limited number of healthier snack foods. And then after the Healthy Corner Store improvement, increased availability of fresh produce and frozen canned vegetables made with lower levels of sodium, whole grain snacks, low and no fat dairy products, and foods that support a balanced diet. So that's kind of even that, like, that's not even, there's not many numbers in it, but that's how we can once again say, check, we did it. So before, so we go into Danny and Buddies and we do an evaluation and we see that they only have, 3 types of fruits. They have apples, oranges, and bananas. Well, at the end, we can go in and we can say, oh, now they have zucchini and eggplant and tomatoes because we partnered with these gardens. And now it's so little to no increase. Yay, we did it. That's our goal. So anyways, this is a really good way just to kind of see what other people have done. It's always great to learn from others. They have common elements, partnerships, incentives, educating consumers, inventory improvements, technical and training assistance. That's what you were talking about, right? So I would encourage everybody in between meetings to take some time to look at this. Yeah.
That just gave me the idea about when it comes to one of the goals because community gardens are based or it's like what's the word I'm thinking of? There's a growing season, right? So how do we make that sustainable?
Yeah. So what I would say is that I think that we could develop a strategy where our first stop is community gardens. And we say, hey, anybody have extra produce? Because also not all community gardens have extra produce all the time because members take home their own stuff. So we identify our gardens, we reach out to them and say, hey, do you have any extra produce that you're willing to sell? They say yes or no. And then we supplement that by going to like Sanwa off of Hillsborough. Or Savannah mentioned reaching out to a wholesaler or small farms, maybe Meacham, maybe Sweetwater. But like I think our goal should be those 4 community gardens that we identify. Hey, you're our default kind of first right of refusal. And then if they say, oh yeah, we only have 4 eggplants and 3 tomatoes, great, we'll buy those 4 eggplants and 3 tomatoes, but we need to go get more because if we have 30 people show up, we can't just make them fight over the eggplants. So yeah, but that is something to consider is good. And then in the growing season right now, like nobody's growing anything right now. Or they're
Okra.
no, yeah, exactly. Okra, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You come across it and go inside in the AC. Yeah. Although I did learn that you can grow Seminole pumpkin over the summer.
Well, I actually took Georgia's gardening class. She at the Sustainable Living Garden. So that's something that I did. I didn't bring that up earlier, but there were a lot of things that you can grow in the summer. So
I'm so happy to hear that. So technically SLP is the closest to Buddy. And So and Georgia does grow a lot of food. So and that could be a really good partnership. So I'm really happy to hear that.
Yeah. There's also
vendor, I think the name is Lemon Drop or something.
Yeah,
You guys, are they still around?
Not
What are they
really.
doing?
no,
Because what they did, they took on the community gardens and then they brought the produce from the community gardens and then they would sell it to us.
and that was
Like
kind of
a
the
third.
problem is they didn't physically move it. You had to, there was an online,
Oh, okay.
yeah, but they didn't have vans that went and picked up produce.
Oh, I thought they were picking up.
No, it was on the gardens themselves to drive to the lemon drop or to be a lemon drop.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah, but I don't even know if that technology, I don't even know if it's still around anymore.
I don't know.
Yeah. But it's a cool idea.
Yeah.
So is this our goal?
I was looking at the SMART goals and I saw something that I'm not sure if it's on there, maybe it is, but it says, how are we gonna track the advancement of these goals? How can we do that? Like, how can we know that it's working?
I think with the surveys, like what Avery was doing, that's one way to try. Having the surveys after each class from the participants.
We've done one cooking class, check, 2 cooking
Yeah,
class, check.
check,
Um,
those are measurable things that
Okay.
we can check. Yeah,
So just
how many
checking
community garden, yeah, how many partners, check out Boom too.
Okay.
So,
What's our time bound by next year? Is that what we said, or?
Is it
Yeah.
next?
October, I think.
The money
Yeah,
is the available October.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so by next October, I think we wanna have 4.
Next October.
Yeah. Right? This October, next October?
Next October.
2026.
Yeah, so next October, we wanna do 4 of these events. And so that's the time bound. So, okay, so what does S stand for? I truly forgot.
Specific.
Specific, okay, so I
Yeah,
think
it has
it's
to be
specific.
yes.
Okay, measurable, we have
Measurable, yeah.
measurable,
Uh-huh.
attainable,
Obtainable.
we can do this.
Uh-huh.
What's R?
or is relevant.
Relevant,
Is relevant,
relevant, yes.
And that, I think that fits with our definitions, right? Increasing reliability, affordability, familiarity, and then T is time bound.
Mhm.
So I would say we got a SMART goal.
Yeah.
Right, it's like us sitting around and kind of going back and forth.
Brainstorming.
Is
Yeah.
4 too many? Is 4 enough? Where are we doing it in the city? And but that's what it takes. We'll be back.
Right.
I'm excited.
Right.
Yeah, the first working group.
Yeah, we're down. Oh, yes, oh, yes.
The microphone was not able to pick up all the excitement, so it just went mute. So everything was mute, but you guys were clapping, so I felt it.
No, no. Innovation.
A thought, I probably mentioned this at the last meeting too, but, someone mentioned that what makes the cooking demo stand out differently from, I think something else that could be new that we'd add in is, like, I can speak for myself and I'm sure there are other organizations who would do this as well, but you can get it as a resource sharing opportunity. So like if they really enjoy the cooking demo and they want to learn more about how to do it at home, or they want to learn more about nutrition, say, oh, hey, you can take this class with the Department of Health and learn more about your health and fitness. You can take it virtually, get more information. And that way it's like we're doing outreach. Whereas where they've done a cooking class somewhere else, that might just be like a one-stop shop, and maybe they have other services there wherever they're having the cooking demo, but like beyond that, they don't, like, they're not spreading the word of other resources out there, because what fits for someone might not fit for someone else. So I just wanted to add that in.
I think that's a really good point. And so, what we're ultimately looking for is behavior change, which is really, really hard in healthcare.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
it's almost impossible in a one-time class. A one-time nudge is not gonna be a behavior change. But if somebody is interested and we do have those resources lined up for them, and we say, oh, you liked this? Well, guess what? You can join this garden down the street. You can go to this free class. You can take the community food ambassador training. You can do the online, and then that's another nudge. And then hopefully another, and then over time, that's where that behavior change comes from. So I agree, this is kind of going to be the spark, but hopefully it's up to us, it's up to our partners to then create that ecosystem where the spark keeps happening, basically. Yeah. So I think that's a really good point, is instead, to basically ride the wave of our success and to keep connecting people and keep letting them know, like, if you like this, then there's all these other free services that you can take advantage of. Yeah.
And for me, I love education. So I love, like, if I were a community member and I heard about a class, I'd like want to jump on it because I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Someone else may not. So
Yeah.
maybe they hear about it and they're like, oh, that's good info. I'll pass it along to my supervisor or my colleague that might be interested, and that's fine. But for me, I know I love it. And when I've done outreach at events, I've had so many different people tell me, oh, I had no idea that the Department of Health had a free fitness class. I thought that y'all just went out and like inspected, pool safety, restaurants, or the vital statistics off. Like, they have no idea that there's so much more there. And I know with y'all's organizations too, like y'all have so many resources to share as well. So I think that's a really good opportunity. And then they're free. That's the best part about it too, because I know that's a barrier for a lot of people. And maybe they're interested in like the classes we offer. They do DPP in hospitals. Like, it's the CDC approved curriculum that was developed out of Emory, but there'll be some fee if they take it at Advent Health or if they take it at TGH, unless their insurance is covering, but that's going to depend on insurance. Like the insurance thing.
I'm already off.
Yeah. So, but with us, they can take it for free and they get all the materials at no cost, whereas somewhere else they would. I mean, I'm not telling them that, but I'm saying like they can put that together on their own. Oh, it's free here, somewhere else. So yeah.
Cool. And then before we wrap up and go to the next section, I will say that kind of with like the essence of the mini grant is to be able to understand for every dollar we invest, this is our kind of output. So that will be really good information. So, we're going to do these 4 events. They're going to cost us some money because we're going to need equipment. And I think we allowed a certain amount for staff time, but not too much. And, maybe we want to send direct mail to people in that neighborhood, or we want to pay for a Facebook ad or maybe whatever we want to do. It's all going to cost money. And at the end, we'll be able to say, okay, so it cost us $500 per event to pay for the food, to pay for the training, to pay for whatever. But we, worked with 80 people. So $500 divided by 80. Well, when you have that, then you can go to a funder and you can say, hey, if you have $5,000 for me, I can go impact this many people. And then that's how you actually start being able to get somebody, that champion. Maybe we can say, hey, we can pay you to do this, right? So that's kind of what I think was really important to keep in mind, is that we're basically going to demonstrate a proof of concept with this and hopefully snowball that into something more long-term. There's a lot of very generous people in our community, but if you show up and you go, I think it's going to work, they're not going to do it. If you show up and you have pictures and you have evidence and you have people that have, signed on and committed, then you are more likely to walk away with your little $20,000 check or whatever that is. So that's kind of what I think we've made really, really good progress today, I think, with identifying this goal. And now we'll have to start actually seeing it come together.
There we go.
Yeah. And really for us, our responsibility is to kind of recruit other people to come into it, right? Yeah, exactly. So start telling the idea. But yeah, I'm really proud of you all. This is really great.
This for our next point.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And so we'll have Ms. Kitty with the logistics next month. Okay. With the next session is you, Michelle. Go ahead.
Sure. So for new business, brainstorm groups to share the community development grant with number 1, invite any organizations to speak to the group in July about upcoming projects.
So you guys invite to talk about, people who
Reaching the school.
you're looking for who you want to apply for this grant, basically.
Well, I'm going to invite Kitty Wallace as a speaker and someone who's going to probably go for the grant. Okay. So she'll be both, probably wear both hats.
Okay. Would it be safe to invite Georgia from SLP as well?
For sure. You can invite anyone you want. You have to pitch it and you say, this is what we came up with. We think you'd be a good partner and this is why. Like, if you're interested, this, and Georgia is on another working group, so she knows she knows a little bit about the money being offered and kind of the standards here. So
What about, I don't know if you guys know him, I don't know his name. There's an individual that went to that. He's a teacher and he's trying to start gardening in the schools.
Is it Kenny?
I think Kenny.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Would that be someone?
Well, he's part of the food, production.
Food production.
Yeah,
Yeah,
his,
he's
his
part of-
school could maybe, he's selling, I always see him on Facebook,
Yeah,
like,
he
saying like, I
does
have this
produce,
produce
yeah.
for sale, you know? So maybe that they could be an interesting partner for Middleton.
And I will say that both Kenny and Georgia are on other working groups.
Mhm.
So we do want to try to reach out to people who maybe aren't
Take
engaged
cross.
as yet. Yeah. And so what I'm gonna tell you guys honestly is like, right now we're just brainstorming. So we have Kitty, Georgia, but another kind of piece of homework I would say is on the platform, if you go to members, you can see other people who are in the food access. It's not loading. And see if any of these names are familiar to you and see if any of them might be worth reaching out to. And you can just say, hey, at our next meeting, we're going to talk about a grant. I think you'd be a really good fit. I hope you'll come or tune in virtually, right? Like it's not even that scary. But you can kind of click and see like what different people do. So where's an example? So like Heather she works with me at Extension. And actually she doesn't really do food access, but where's another example? Oh, this Erin woman, she works for Tampa Bay Academy of Hope. She works with students, and a lot of the students are interested in learning more about nutrition and doing stuff like that. So she might be a good partner for it.
Who is that school? Is that?
Tampa Bay Academy of Hope. Maybe it's not a school.
What's her name?
It's Erin. It's a after school program or yeah. But anyways, you can find out more about her. But I would just say scroll through some of these and see if there's any good fits. And even if you don't know them, you can just introduce yourself. Hey, I'm the co-chair and we don't know each other, but next month, or instead of doing it individually, you could do a post.
Okay.
Yeah, you could do it. Yeah, so why don't you guys, you want to do a post and just let people know?
Yeah, and then let them reach out.
That way,
Yeah.
if you send it out to 100, maybe 10 will reach out and then
Yeah.
4 will come.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's exactly how it works. But I will say that personal touches do work. So I would encourage you to reach out to Kitty and you to reach out to Georgia.
Mhm.
They'll also see the post. But if you have anybody that needs an especially good fit, go ahead and just reach out directly, and then everybody else will kind of benefit from seeing the post.
Are we only looking at people that do the gardening aspect, or are we looking at anything that would fall within those goals?
I think anything.
Anything.
Because,
Yeah.
okay.
It has to be in the food access or can it be in the main?
That's a good. I would. That's a good question. What do you think?
So like, I could see how people who may not be on food access could
Right.
be relevant here.
Why don't we do it in Maine?
Yeah.
And we'll do Maine this time, and then hope that kind of brings people into the food access.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe on that post include like, don't forget to join food access working group.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Well, because our meeting information's in the food access.
Exactly. Yeah.
So on the post, you can say, hey, food access determined our goal. It's, to do these events. We encourage people to come to the next meeting, join the food access, like make sure you're part of the food access page to learn the details and stuff, because we want them to kind of hop in.
What I'll do is I'll send it to you guys first. So
Yeah.
that you guys can see.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to like send out the wrong.
And you can even just post it on the working group. And then that way we can kind of like comment on it or whatever. Yeah.
We also have connections with Tampa Well. We provide the produce to them, and I know that they have a community garden. I don't know if they do anything with neighborhood stores yet, but
Yeah.
I think that'd be a great start. I used to work for the director there, so we have that connection. I can reach out and kind of branch it into a food RX thing.
That would be very cool. And then who runs the garden there? Janice Carr. Yeah.
Janice, yeah, I know Rachel and Liz, who are, I guess, like the
Yeah.
overall managers, but I haven't met Janice, but we've been hoping to meet with her soon on the Snap Ed side. I know we do a lot of the food RX stuff, but to kind of add the nutrition component, that's our next step. So I
That's
can
awesome.
weave that into this.
Cool.
Okay.
The next piece of food.
Oh, okay, you.
So we're on B. Field trip to St. Petersburg, number 1, your neighborhood produce. I don't really know too much about that.
We talked about it in our co-chair
Yeah.
meeting, the neighborhoods, it's a store in St. Pete that Open Monica posted about it on the platform as well. That is in like a low income low access area. I think it's kind of in a plaza. So like maybe we could organize the field trip using the extension van so that nobody has to drive to St. Pete except yeah. To check it out, we can talk to the like founder, try to organize something with her, see how she did it and how that's going, and maybe learn from her a little bit if that's something you guys are interested in doing. We're gonna open it to all the working groups, I think, just for the sake of.
Because if I'm not mistaken, this person over there been doing this for a while.
Yes,
right?
she has a couple of
Been-
nonprofits.
Yeah, okay, been doing this work.
Yeah,
we
it's
knew
called
to-
Your Neighborhood.
Yeah.
I'm
I think we
neighborhood
talked about it
program.
last.
That's
Maybe
maybe
our neighborhood.
neighborhood program.
And
So basically, like, you have a living example of kind of something that we want to do.
Mhm, right.
And a lot of times these examples are in Maryland or in New York, and this is just across the bridge. And so, you know, we can go and we can reach out to her and say, hey, we're interested in learning more. We want to do something similar. And we actually did this a few years ago. Were you there for that? Yeah, I thought so, yeah. We did, because the city of St. Pete has like a similar initiative, and we went over and did a little field trip and talked to them, and it was really insightful. They told us like, we wish we did these things from the beginning. We learned these lessons. It cost this much money. And so it's been really, you know, useful to see how they felt it. And so, yeah, so something similar basically. So I think that if we are interested, then maybe we can do a poll and vote on, or we can even do it right now and try to figure out a good date for it. And then someone needs to reach out. Well, I don't know the order of operations. We should probably reach out to this woman first.
Yeah.
And ask her. Let me see if
What is her name? It's Kelly Costello.
Yeah, in the article that I linked, it has her name. I don't know if it's a contact.
I have talked to her before.
Oh.
She's in HubSpot. I spoke to her last year, and she was very interested in like what we were doing, but it was very much like I'm way too busy.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I think I remember
Hillsborough.
that.
Yeah.
Kelly Casto. Casto. Okay.
She did Saving Our Seniors is like was her original one, and then it turned into Produce Pack, and then now there's this neighborhood store. Your neighborhood program.
It says that she serves 28,000 seniors monthly.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's doing a lot.
Yeah, especially before we start doing all these,
Mhm.
goals, I think
Yeah,
it would
that
help
we could
us
just
take
look
some-
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
So it would be best to meet with her sooner than later then.
Right, exactly.
So what do we have available?
Yeah. Well, and so, does anybody here want to take the lead on reaching out to her and trying to find a few dates that would work? You want to? Okay. And so Savannah can get you her contact, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I would just, you know, introduce yourself and say that we're interested in learning from her. And so, I mean, for us, would we want to do it do you want to do it before our next meeting, or do you want to do it later in July?
Well, what is everyone's availability? Excuse me, I'll be, on vacation the last week of July.
Okay.
But I would like to go.
Mhm.
I don't know,
Mhm.
like, is this something that you guys want to do before July, or can it be
What
like
kind of day?
right before school starts so we can?
Oh, I think we can do it maybe even in June. Is that too soon?
I was gonna say, can we do it
Yeah.
before the next meeting?
Yeah,
I think
I'm
so.
available.
I was gonna say the last week of June might be
Me
enough
too.
time to reach out to her,
Me too.
and say, so yeah, okay, so I will say, the last week of June is the 23rd to the 27th.
Mhm.
I
And,
think that's.
and so for me personally, Monday morning, Tuesday morning, Wednesday afternoon, all of Friday, so I have a lot of availability. Also, the world doesn't revolve around me. Van, extension van. Yeah. So let me, actually look.
I'm available all week except for Monday.
I can move things around.
Okay, so the van is busy on Wednesday, but
Wednesday the
the
25th,
25th, yeah.
so we have the 26th.
Well, so the 26th is a food production working group meeting, so me and Savannah probably,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
An afternoon trip to traffic might be terrible coming back.
I
Yeah.
know, right?
What about Friday the 27th? Does that work for people?
I'm open.
Yeah.
Always
Monday,
open.
Tuesday, and Friday morning I can do all
Okay.
before.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So is Friday morning good or is Friday afternoon?
Friday morning works for me. And Friday morning going to St. Pete isn't as brutal as
As
coming
coming
from
back,
St. Pete.
yeah.
So
Can we give her 2 options?
I think we should give her a few options. Yeah. So Friday morning would be our preference, and then I heard RJ say Monday or Tuesday
Monday,
works for him.
Tuesday.
Same with me.
But then you won't be available.
You're not available on
not
Monday.
late.
But it's
You're
on
not-
Monday, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Tuesday
try
would be our
Tuesday.
second. Yeah.
Okay,
Tuesday's
Tuesday.
not available Mondays.
Okay.
Okay, what Tuesday? So Tuesday?
Tuesday, the 24th.
Four.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, so our preference would be Friday morning.
Okay.
Second option would be Tuesday morning. Third option would be Monday morning.
So Friday morning, Tuesday. And then
Monday.
Monday morning.
Be the
Yeah.
third option.
And I'm gonna go ahead and just.
And this would be in person, not virtual.
Correct.
In person, we're
all
going
gonna-
over there. We're
Yeah.
going.
Okay, I just
We'll
wanna
find a
make
common
sure.
place to
Right.
meet, whether that's like here in the parking lot or at my office or somewhere, kind of whatever, and then we can get into the van. Cause you know, driving, parking and all of that, I don't know exactly where she is. And then, or you drive separate depending on logistics, but I'm gonna go ahead and get them rent and hold the van, so that way we can do it together. And then we can decide that later.
Is the time frame like 1 to 2 hours or?
The van's, I'm gonna book it for like.
Well,
many minutes.
meeting with her,
Oh.
would it be for an hour?
I would say
30
probably,
minutes?
realistically, I bet you it'd be probably between 1 and 2 hours, just because we're probably gonna just be chatty and ask the questions. But if we need to be back by a certain time, like we don't wanna hold her up too much.
Yeah.
But I think if we say an hour, then we might be like, we only have 5 more minutes and we have so many more questions to ask.
Yeah,
So yeah,
so 1.5.
yeah, and just, between 1 and 2, because maybe an hour is enough and we'll get out of her hair, but.
Okay. Okay.
Cool. And so, yeah, you want to reach out to her and then, let us know what she says. And then we'll hopefully get that scheduled.
Should do Friday, 'cause that's when I can.
Yeah.
And we will get her email.
I have her email and I think I have her.
Okay.
Cool. And then I don't know what snacks out of the budget is about.
Oh, sorry. Snacks out of the budget. So that was because the first 2 meetings I brought snacks and I didn't know if people would like that because it's a lunch time. So do people agree that we should take snacks out of the budget? And if so.
This is our permitted snacks when we're here.
Oh, okay.
So it's like dry goods basically and like
Is
things.
is it always gonna be in the library?
We'll be here next month. We'll be here in July and then October. I don't know. It's a couple days. Just for, I don't know if we're supposed to really have food being taken Bay either, honestly.
Oh,
but
really? I
I
didn't
don't
know
know.
that.
RJ didn't stop.
I didn't know that.
Sorry, RJ. I was like, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure like little snacks. I don't know. I don't know what their rules are. They didn't specify really. They just more asked if we wanted like their catering. So.
Okay.
So that's up to you guys. Do you want to take snacks out of your budget?
Yeah. What do
Or
you guys think?
are you okay without snacks? Or you could do a rotating schedule or something.
I think if we're inviting people next month is in the library, but if we were bringing people to the meeting, maybe those are the times where we like pull it out of the budget to provide lunch.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
Like August, I know we're going back to the food bank, which we can cater out from there if we pull from the budget or have external caterers, that's fine too.
Okay.
So maybe in the co-chair check-ins, we can decide.
Which meetings are appropriate?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I also think for the sake of convenience, I can just get it with the card. So like you don't have to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I mean, it's like reimburse you and this whole thing,
Mhm.
and I have a card. So
Yeah.
you just tell me what
Alright.
snacks you want or give me your list or whatever.
Okay.
But I can-
Should we do pool and
Yeah, like what's more, like, no, there's no banana.
Like, your options are crackers, chips, pretzels, popcorn, cookies, yeah.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Okay, so that's good to know. So only if we're inviting other people, so we will have probably bring some next time. And then we'll decide in our co-chairing meetings. Okay. So the next item is about the late/absence policy. We did adjust it a little bit. So we want to be fair with everyone, but we also want to be respectful of everyone's time. So if you are 5 minutes to 30 minutes late to the start of the meeting, which is 12 o'clock for you guys, that is considered late. We'll kind of deal with late on case by case basis. If you are more than 30 minutes to an hour late, it is considered a half absence. So you get 2 halves to make a whole, right? So like we want to thank you. Understandable if, you know, things happen or like you can only come to an hour of the meeting, like that's still valuable to attend an hour. We don't want you to just be like, oh, well, I was 30 minutes late, so I'm not going to show up. So that is the policy. 5 to 30 minutes, you're considered late. 30 minutes to an hour, it's half an absence. And then anything after that that's your absence.
And how many absences?
You get 1 unexcused absence per calendar year. So you'll get 1 through December, and then in January it'll restart, and you get 2 virtual.
Oh, so like if I can't be here, then one day I can just do virtual twice a year? It's good to know.
Yeah, so RJ's using one of his virtuals right now. You're totally allowed to use it. It's allowed. So right now we have them covered by the.
Can you carry it over to the next year, like, you know, you're working?
I don't think we're there yet. Yeah.
No, and I don't
want to say.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You're not losing anything. We are losing your presence. We're the losers against it. So we don't have to use them. You don't. Maybe you'll win something if you don't use them. I don't know. Maybe I'll win you an extra special snack.
Started, when did I don't even remember when we started. April.
Yeah, April.
So it's April to April next year, and then or April to December.
I think through December. I think that was what we said, right? Like this calendar year through December.
Yeah,
so that's what the MOU says.
Yeah,
it was like
weird because we started like 8. Yeah.
How much you have your MOU in there? I think it says it on there, like the policy in your binder.
Yeah.
You have the side page. I think it tells us that. I don't know. It's not in the handbook.
No, it's not.
But it should be in your binder somewhere. I don't know. Maybe you didn't put. Maybe I don't know where you put it. Okay, I just figured if you had your binder, you could look at it.
And then, oh, sorry. Should I?
I think. Any questions about the policy?
No. Okay, then the deliverables for next meeting, which would be on the next page. A, continuing education opportunities, which we spoke a little bit about at the beginning of the meeting. And then B, brainstorm groups to invite to speak at July meeting. So we had already thought about Kitty, possibly Georgia, possibly Kenny.
That's fine. If we can still invite them, I'm just saying that, you know, as we brainstorm, we'll try to just, you know, reach out to the people that aren't engaged yet. Yeah, but I think we should invite them. But although it's summertime.
Yeah, you gotta get it now.
It's summertime.
Yeah. So I also added to the deliverables while we were talking, to review the Healthy Neighborhood Store resources and the USDA Healthy Corner Stores guide. So they're linked in the notes. So when we get those up, they're on there.
And those notes are under resources?
When they're published, they'll be under resources, but right now you can access it in the drive, like when you go to food access workgroup, and then you want to say meeting agendas, and you can see today's date is the 10th. So this is the one that I've been working in, and so you can actually like immediately, but when it's completed, we add it to the resources on the partner platform.
So everybody who would.
Yes. Yeah, but you guys have Insider, you can access it whenever you want. But we have to, you know, PDF it so that they can't edit it.
And then the next one is evaluation of the meeting.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Wait a minute, do we want to include for the deliverables from our confirmation for the trip?
Because
Oh, yes.
Well, we'll have already gone.
Yeah, by the time.
Yeah,
By the time we meet, yeah, okay, oh, okay,
Hopefully we would have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right.
That's a good point.
And then, okay, so evaluation of the meeting, and then the next meeting, which would be July 8th from 12 to 2 at this location, Jimmy B. Keel Library Community Room B.
So that one is actually up front. So before you come in those open doors, and it's a bigger room, so if we have more guests, it'll be better. This was just all that was available today. So I think, yes, we're in B, so it's up front. You walk in and like right to the left, there's signs, and I put it on, we'll put it on the agenda too, so you'll know. But just so you know, you don't have to walk all the way into the library. Okay, so then our meeting ratings, we'll go around and do our, I have to like switch this off my screen, you can't see. Okay, so if you remember, we have our PALS, participation, achievement, listening, and scheduling. So I'm just gonna, like, we can kind of go in a circle and just say your thing. You're on the list, Monica.
Yeah, that's fine.
So for participation, did people participate? How would you rate us 1 through 5, Regina?
5.
3.
5.
RJ?
5.
Sorry, it was easier to scroll nowhere. Okay. Achievement. What did we accomplish? Did we accomplish what we were trying to do?
5.
That's right.
Definitely 5.
RJ, are you a 5?
Yep.
Listening. Were we people focused and mindful?
5.
5.
I'd say 5.
5 across the board. And did we stick to our agenda and use our time wisely? It is 1:56 right now, so you guys.
Yeah.
I would say 5 for everything.
5.
That means it was a useful meeting, which is good. Yeah, we want to make sure you're using your time wisely and that you thought it was correct.
Shall I already shared our next meeting will be here, and we're at that in the front of the building, and we'll have some snacks. Hopefully, people are going to show up.
Yeah.
All right.
When should I send that message for the invitations?
To come to the meeting? I think whenever.
As soon as possible.
Yeah.
I would say because it's a month away, so get it on people's calendars earlier rather than later. And if they say no, invite somebody else.
Yeah.
And just
Well, you're gonna have the platform post, right? Yeah. Yep. So I would say go ahead and post it. And then this is like a little bit behind the scenes, but on Thursday, you guys probably see that every Thursday you get a recap of things that are on the platform. So if you post something by Wednesday at midnight, it'll almost automatically go into Thursdays. So posting things by Wednesday increases your chance that people see it. If not, it waits the whole next week. So
and I pin things onto highlights on Wednesday afternoons. So it'll probably still send it because it's like a super recent post, but like I take time to go through and like make sure it'll be on the highlights.
like the important things that people see. And I can see on my end that it would make a difference. Like because people they may not go to the platform as often as like we are, and so they get these weekly emails and they'll see something interesting and they'll click on it, and that way they'll like know about different opportunities. So anyways, Wednesday is always a good time to kind of post something because it'll definitely go out on Thursday, but it doesn't matter if you don't, just because it'll go on the next one.